Hey everybody, it's Chris. Welcome to the Blue Collar Beer Gourmet. For those of you who are returning to my channel, welcome back. If you've never been here before, welcome. How this channel works is I like to drink craft beer, I like to review craft beer, and I don't like to pay a whole lot of money doing it. So the beers that I review on this channel usually come in around the $2 price range. And such is the case with today's selection. I did in fact pay $1.99 for this 12-ounce can of Sparkale, sparkling rosé ale with apple, cranberry, peach, and cherry from 21st Amendment Brewery. And I have had some good luck with 21st Amendment Brewery's choices, selections before. I like their Brew Free or Die, and their watermelon beer is actually pretty good too, considering I'm not much of a fruit fan. Now, considering I'm not much of a fruit fan, I'm basically setting aside my preferences and keeping an open mind about this because what do we got? Apple, cranberry, peach, and cherry. Yeah, four different fruits listed on this beer. I don't think this beer is very old. I mean, and by that I don't mean like it was brewed recently. I mean that the actual recipe and the introduction of this beer, I think, is fairly new. Case in point, there was, as I recall, I was not able to find this beer on 21st Amendment Brewery's website. And when I went to the review community to see what others thought of this beer, I went to Untapped first, and there I discovered that none of my friends had actually reviewed this beer yet. And so far, only 58 people have reviewed it on Untapped, giving it a cumulative score of 3.54. Beer Advocate has only had 21 reviews, and they gave it a cumulative score of 3.67, which on their scale is good. Now, here's what's interesting about this beer. Because I couldn't find it on the website, I have to go by what I find in the review community's standards. Well, basically, I'm trying to figure out what variety of beer this was. If you go to Untapped, it's referred to as an Australian sparkling ale. If you go to Beer Advocate, it's referred to as a Belgian Saison. Um, I don't know which is which, but this does have a 5.5 ABV, so it's in the range of say a lager or yeah, about a saison. I think that'd actually be a little bit low on the saison scale, but nonetheless, we're not talking about like a barley wine here or anything with a particularly high ABV. A lot of times I've noticed that breweries, if they don't know what to call the variety, they will just call it ale. If they didn't use lager yeast, then they just call it an ale, which is fine too. Sometimes you can't narrow it down. What I did notice about this beer when I actually no, it is at the website. I take that back. They do have this listed on the website, and I'm remembering that because that's where I discovered that this beer was actually crafted to uh, reduce gluten. And for those of you who watch this channel with any regularity, you know that very recently I finished up a four-part series of reviewing gluten-removed beers from Omission. You can check that out here on the channel. But I'm of the opinion that beer as a universal drink should be made universal. And I'm thinking, and I'm also of the opinion that gluten-free and alcohol-free are the two fields in which brewers need to be spending at least a little bit of their time. I've said before, and I'll say it again, if I had a Mormon friend with celiac disease, I'd want to be able to hand him or her a beer and say, this is perfectly in keeping with your religious beliefs and will do you no harm health-wise. I believe that there's got to be some way for us to all enjoy a beer, uh, no matter what your personal beliefs are or what your health status may be. And since I have a friend with celiac disease, gluten removed and gluten-free beers are of particular interest to me. All right, I'm gonna crack this bad boy open. I went ahead and used the tulip glass. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because frankly, I don't know what kind of glass to use for Australian sparkling ale. But I do know that if you're drinking a Belgian Saison, you're supposed to be using a tulip glass. And if this is in fact a Belgian Saison, then that's what I'm going to be using. I am a big fan of using proper glassware. If you've watched this channel with any regularity, you'll know that. And I do like very much to use proper glassware. I am going to describe that as high carbonation, and what you're seeing is pretty close to the color of the beer, maybe a little bit darker, a little more violety on the camera than in real life, but this is very, very, very well carbonated. I mean, lots and lots of carbonation. I'm gonna do a quick beard wipe, see what we come across. Honestly, what I smelled was booze, more than anything. It almost smelled like wine, in fact. Very boozy smell, but I didn't so much catch up on the fruit. Let me give it a quick spin. Stick my schnoz in, see what we can find out. You know, it kind of does smell like a saison. It does have that sort of Brett, that sort of farm yeast kind of smell. It is a combination of fruit smells. It kind of smells like white wine, actually. You know how white wine has that really, really fruity smell a lot of times? Well, that's kind of what I'm getting here. I'm going to go ahead and shut my trap and start drinking. Cheers. Okay, it is a sparkling ale. It is not what I would not describe it as a saison, although it may technically be. So don't. If it turns out that this is in fact a saison, somebody can take it to a lab and prove that it's a saison. Don't say that I didn't say it was a saison. It doesn't seem like a saison. It seems much more sparkling than that. Like I said, lots and lots of carbonation. Even now, you can still see. If I bring it up close, you can see some of those bubbles emerging, and there's a very, very flimsy head, which is also typical of saisons. The fruit flavor is coming through big time, although what I'm really tasting more than anything out of this is the cherry. There's also supposed to be apple, peach, and cranberry. But and you know, pretty much any time that there's fruit involved, somebody's going to use apple. Hell, if you buy grape juice at the grocery store, look on the ingredients. You'll see that most of what comprises your grape juice is actually apple juice with grape flavor added to it. So there is a crispness of apple, but really the flavor that's coming through more than anything is cherry. And I'd almost refer to this as a cherry sparkling ale. That booziness that came through in the bouquet, it's not so much coming through on the flavor. Um, I'll put it to you this way, and I know I've got to get to work. Believe me, gang, I am going to get to work on that beer cocktail book. I really, really, really am. But honestly, I'm thinking that this really lends itself to a beer cocktail. Um, it's got lots of carbonation, has a nice color, has that nice fruity flavor. It seems like complementing this with just the right, I don't know, maybe just the right honey whiskey or something like that. You can come up with a good cocktail. I don't know. I went to bartending school, but I would not call myself a mixologist. I just I'm better at making other people's recipes than coming up with my own. But all in all, this is not a bad beer, and it came in a can, so you know I gotta like that too. I was gonna say 3.5, but I guess with it coming in a can, it gets that extra 0.25. So I guess I'll be giving it a 3.75 on Untapped. That seems about right. And if you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And guys, until next time, drink good beer and don't break the bank doing it. Cheers.